Voice module online.
Are you listening?
Get over here!
It's only a game. Why you have to be mad?
This week on RDS Gaming, RDS defines the classics. Suck on this, Vlasic. Pickle, that is. Hello, and welcome to the RDS Gaming Podcast, episode 44. That's right, we're your most offensive source for all things nerd, geek, and gaming. And this week, your host is me, Racer. Joined as I have been for several weeks by, well, the man, the Colossus, the lump, Zero.
What's going on, fellas?
And for a little more of the baldiness, we got Black Sun.
Good evening, everyone. I got one question. Is that a bread and butter or a dill?
Dill, motherfucker. There ain't none of that bread and butter bullshit up in here.
Perfect. That's how I like them.
We knew you'd like it a little garlicky, a little salty, a little sour. All right. We're going to get to the normal stuff, but we have to take a moment. If you got a 40 in your hand, which if you're listening to this podcast, God, for your sake, I hope you do. Pour a little bit out on the floor. We are gatesless for the podcast. It's not to say that he won't drop in eventually. We won't see him again. But our little boy's graduated. He's got on to other things, so for any of you that listen to any of the other shit we constantly talk about and reference, this is not a Handsome Tom situation. I offered to pay him 10 times what the rest of us make, which is zero. But still, I offered 10 times, and still he's choosing to do the right thing. So, for everybody out there in TV land, so I can screenshot it and make him feel bad about himself, if you could post in the comments, "Goodbye, Gates, we love you, and we'll miss you," would be greatly appreciated. But RDS will continue to soldier on. We're a family, baby. We'll make this shit happen.
There's no stopping this train.
But many thanks for all the work he did, the time he put in, the effort he put in, the spirit he brought to everything. Fortunately, that means you're going to have to deal with my ass being the MC from now on. So, yeah. From the looks of our viewership numbers, that means that none of the people listening are going to be disappointed. All none of you. If you come back and listen to this video when there's like 10 million, remind me, somebody send me a direct message on YouTube, and I'll come back and edit this for whatever our current subscriber count is. But all right, fellas. So, anything interesting been going on in the gaming world? You guys played anything fun?
Played a little more Diablo 2, a little Diablo 3, and I loaded up Rage because I had gotten the game super cheap like way long ago, and I played like the first 40 minutes, and I don't know if I fucking just forgot about it or if something else caught my interest way more. It just got put to the wayside, never played again. But well, I was looking down my Steam library and I was like, man, I want to play something. And I was like, wait a minute, I never fucking played through that game. I need to fucking re-download that and give that a shot, see if I can't get that finished up.
No, see, motherfucker, that's I'm triggered now. This is ridiculous. Rage is not a game. That's my life.
Well, yeah.
So we actually talked about that when you were playing Mad Max. It's kind of similar, I believe, right? From what you described Mad Max to me.
A little bit, yeah.
And again, I'm going to take a second to interject here. Folks, yes, I will travel the very long distance to Zero's house and fix his reverb issue, because I don't know if he's got like he's confused about how a microphone works and he has it tucked up underneath his ear or what's going on, but that reverb is killing me.
Sorry, buddy. I haven't done anything different.
I know that's the problem. It's been that way since your last headset. But seriously, he goes through more headsets than underwear, so it's cool.
That's true. I can't have nice things.
Oh shit, that's an offline fucking callback. Somebody just got burnt. They're never gonna hear it, but they just got burnt. How about you, Black Sun? Have you been playing the same thing? School?
For the most part, yes, I have. That's been the majority of it. I did a brief little bit of Destiny 2 here and there, a couple moments, just to work on a little bit of the weekly stuff for a moment, just for a break.
Okay, we need to take a minute. Black Sun is suicidal. He's playing Destiny 2. Obviously, he's hit rock bottom. I think now's the time that we need to have that intervention we've talked about. Obviously, things have gotten really bad. I didn't realize things had slid that far, but if he's playing Destiny 2, then obviously it's time.
It's quick and easy. That's all I had time for.
Quick, you were right on. Easy, probably also right. It's really not a challenging game.
No, not so much. There's changes incoming, I read.
Well, that is one bit, and I didn't even list that under our news topic, so we'll cover it now. The live team from D1 is taking over, and from the rumors, we don't have anything confirmed yet, neither does the other billion articles anybody that's paying attention to gaming shit has. The live team is planning on implementing most of the quality of life changes from Destiny 1 into Destiny 2 with free updates, not with the paid DLC.
Really?
Yeah, so hopefully we see some of the good shit come back. Maybe it'll, urge me enough to go poke my PS4 with no intention to watch Netflix, but to actually play a game on it. Let's hope. Although I got to admit, having spent the last week using an Xbox Elite controller, it's going to be pretty difficult to go back to a PS4 controller.
That thing still treat you pretty good?
Dude, it's amazing. I killed a mugger. I killed a mugger with it last week.
Well, at least I didn't kill the cat with it.
No, he avoids it. Like when I pull it out of its, like, I got some 8x8s to build a cradle for it. Yeah, whenever I pull it out of the cradle, he usually just runs away.
Is that because he knows that there's rage that's going to be involved? Or just because he's worried about dying?
All controllers are expensive. Everybody out there that's ever experienced that momentary rage when playing a game, when they grip the controller too tight and hear it creak, or anybody that throws controllers, anything else, whatever rage issues you have, like, this is the one time in my life I've held a controller and I'm like, I ain't throwing this. Not because I'm worried about breaking the controller. I'm worried about breaking my house. Not like stuff. Not shit in my house, like literally worried about breaking my house. It's the Nokia phone of controllers.
It's a brick and it's going to do damage.
Yeah, so I'm very happy with that, but I do think it's going to be hard to go back to the PS4 controllers, which I like them, and I am so used to Sony controllers, and I'm sad to say that. But even my retardedly expensive Scuff controller doesn't feel as good as the Xbox Elite controller. Sony, get your shit together. Like, everybody right now, even Sony's little spin-off development studio is talking about developing for Microsoft. Give them a deal. Build one hell of a game and be like, send your controller designer our way.
Yeah, see, I'm the opposite. I've been using Xbox controllers most of my gaming career on console. So when I go to the PS controllers, it's a little awkward. But I rectified that with a little plug-in adapter, so I can be comfortable no matter what I play on.
See, and for me, Black Sun, it's the complete opposite. I've been playing with PlayStation controllers so long that Xbox controller just feels fucking awkward as hell in my hands. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the layout that just makes me uncomfortable or what. But I hate the Xbox controllers.
We'll get you one of the old Dukes from the original Xbox. That thing is actually sized for your hands.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
yeah.
were.
That's probably true too. You're right.
And
That probably is part of it.
That was normally the fuck you controller back in the day when we would have Halo LAN parties. Like, everybody had the new mini Xbox controllers that are just their standard Xbox controller, Xbox 360 controller now. But if you were the person nobody liked, you got the Duke.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was a big fucking controller. But yeah, I've had good luck with it. It took a little bit of finagling, and Windows 10 supports it natively and was not supposed to be an issue or anything else. I had to install some updates and get everything running. Now that I do, it's pretty fucking seamless. The weird part is there's the Xbox button, like the PS button on the PS4 controllers. If you press it when an application is open, it'll ask you to associate that as a game. And I was fucking around with a couple of things and had some video editing software open, and I hit it, and then I'm a retard and I clicked yes. So now when I open a specific profile in the video editing software, it starts shadow play. I'm like, all right, well, I will expose the very simple process I use to edit videos by streaming it, apparently. Fuck this. But yeah, it's I haven't done a lot. I have run some more races in Forza 7. And yes, I'm going to be the one person on YouTube that says Forza and not Forza. I don't know why every other fucking person puts a T in the name, but it's like fingernails on a chalkboard at this point.
Really, they put T's in it?
Forza. Forza. That's what I keep hearing people say, and I'm like, no, it's Forza. 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 Not Forza. It's
Yeah,
like
you think my English is bad?
across. There's no T in the fucking word. Stop putting it in there. But yeah, I have one major complaint because I've gone back and run some other races trying to build up my car level and other shit. The truck races and like the first competition in the single player, I'm like, cool. They brought some of the stuff from Horizon over. You've got these high performance trucks. And maybe it changes later on. I don't know. But out of the series of races, all of them were on the street. Why? Why would I drive a fucking 700 horsepower 4-wheel drive truck, a race truck, on the street? Give me some dirt. Give me some sand. Make that shit interesting. You know I'm not going to be maintaining traction anyways. But no.
Because you can?
No, it's got to be on the street. Okay, well, why have trucks? Give me a sports car. Give me something fun to drive on these European streets. Fuck this.
Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't make any fucking sense at all.
And that was the kind of the interesting part of Horizon was you did have that split up. Yeah, you could take ridiculous other cars on the off-road courses that didn't do nearly as well, unless you were like me and had shit retardedly overbuilt. But you had those off-road vehicles, the Raptors and the whatever the fuck the Dodge super truck variant is, and the Bowler Wildcat, all that crazy shit, and BMWs and Jaguars and all these SUVs and shit you could take. And it was all off-road. It was cool. It was fun. It was different. And then, like, every other aspect of Horizon I didn't like. And then they do the one thing in 7 that they could have taken from Horizon, and they didn't. Just that bugs me for some reason. It's a small detail, but it's ridiculous. I mean,
a lot of times, though, it's the small details that really makes the games excel.
I've played through a lot of different racing games over the years, and basically it comes down to I want to collect all the cool cars I either own or I want to own, and then I'm done. And that takes about 2 hours in Forza 7.
Oh, that's a shame.
But I'm still kind of plugging away at certain races to see what else unlocks, what else you can do. But it's definitely a weird... they're trying to make everything approachable, and it's like I said last time, it's a very weird approach to it. Like I've kind of delved into it a little more and seen where you can change some stuff around and tune the car a little more in between brackets, but it isn't as much as I like it. I mean, I still go back to Tokyo Extreme Racer and Gran Turismo 2 were some of the shining examples. Gran Turismo 2 still holds up pretty well. Tokyo Extreme Racer 2 or 3, whatever the Dreamcast one was,
3.
does not hold up well at all. But
I played the shit out of that not too long ago.
I would like a game like that made with everything modern cars, graphics, physics, all that, because it was enjoyable. But yeah, that's kind of where I sit. I kind of dip my toe into racing back and forth, but I've been working on actual cars lately, so not so much time for the gaming aspect.
Yeah, see, there's a lot that actually goes into them racing games. Say after learning all I am and whatnot, and started just thinking about it and everything that you got to do to get a fairly realistic feel and everything, and each one's different and the different tires, and then if you go, say the dirt aspect on it also, it'd be it's crazy all the stuff that's behind the scenes. It'd be fun to try and tackle sometime when I get the free time, maybe.
One of these days, Black Sun. One of these days.
That'll be a side project. Started on the side while doing main other projects.
Yeah, we'll say that's what I meant. We don't have a whole lot of news. I don't think we need a whole lot of news this week. We had our major bombshell. So, we'll open this up with something nobody cares about. Microsoft has officially stopped production on the Kinect.
Yeah, I read that.
That's right. The rest of the world's reaction was pretty much what you heard here. Huh, I read that. Nobody cared.
Mhm.
Yep.
It's not like they're not producing a bunch of Kinect games or interactive. It's all of them anymore. They're going to go the way of, say, the VR, not the Kinect.
I mean, Nintendo figured it out 2 consoles ago, so I guess it was about time Microsoft caught up.
You could say that.
Yeah.
They're a little slow on occasion.
And a disturbing shift, EA did something right.
Wait, what?
I know. After we lambasted them last week and in many previous episodes, it turns out the team working on Need for Speed Payback actually paid attention to what people were saying. The massive bitching about the ineffective cops in Need for Speed 2015, the always online feature, even if you were playing single player, the lack of customization, the lack of a ton of things. And if it turns out close to what they're showing, this may be a return to even pre-Hot Pursuit days, like Carbon and Most Wanted.
Really?
So close to the PC days up.
Yeah, it's shaping up. It's single player, you never have to be online. You never have to connect, do anything else. You can play the full single player campaign, basically build a bomb shelter, no Wi-Fi, no internet connection. You, your computer, or your console, you can play the entire single player game, never having had to touch online. It looks decent. It looks like some of the mods are back. The cop chases are back. A heavy focus on street racing. Yes, again, they have shoehorned a storyline into it. And they've put multiple protagonists in it.
Oh, really? So I know some of the older ones I played and I rather enjoyed, and I lost interest on some of the newer ones. I don't think the most recent one I don't think I've even touched.
I played Need for Speed 2015, their reboot attempt. It's interesting. I like some of the things about the game. The fact that it was a walking billboard for everybody that vapes and drinks Monster entirely too much, not my favorite thing. Everybody fist bumps. Everybody's a bruh. Except for the guy that you know is going to turn on you, the second you meet him. The storyline was awful. The physics were okay. The driving physics were pretty terrible. The drifting was god awful. But there was still bits of a fun racing game in there. But it looks like Payback is actually, well, EA's payback to the community. Looks like it will be a decent game. Once it comes out and it's sat for a couple of weeks, I'll buy it, try it out and see what it's all about, see if it's actually a decent game. But yeah, it looks like a decent entry in the series, taking us back to the Most Wanted, and like I said, the Most Wanted and Underground days.
Oh yeah. See, I played Underground. I liked the hell out of that one.
So it's intriguing to see actually having a positive note about EA and one of their studios. And if this game fails, I'm sure all of those people will be fired and that studio will be shot in the head like the rest of them.
Yeah. Well, let's cross our fingers.
And there's a lot of studios under fire lately.
Speaking of, awesome segue, by the way.
It happens occasionally.
Destiny 2 is out on PC and has been for a week. And you're banned. Or so the internet would have you believe. So, like most people adjusting to a new platform, there have been some hiccups. There's a bunch of cross-community support, like a bunch of the console players have taken PC players under their wing and are giving them advice, and that's great to see the Destiny community continuing what I've seen since day one in vanilla Destiny 1. And then, of course, the internet gets involved and manages to turn it into a giant flaming train wreck.
Damn you, internet.
Going by the official Bungie word, which I am taking them at this, I don't have any way to prove otherwise, there is no auto ban system in place in Destiny 2 on PC. Which means I'm sure they have multiple servers running heuristics and everything else to track potential threats and interruptions and anything else that can compromise their game. But any case where cheating is suspected, they actually do a manual review. So 400 players were banned recently in the first couple days. Some people that hadn't even played the game yet, according to reports. Basically, a bunch of people start bitching in the Bungie forums and bitching online, and Bungie comes out and says, well, our system is in place. We do manual reviews. It was determined to be a threat for some reason or another, and you got banned. And then people started screaming, I didn't do nothing, and I'm going to charge back, and some people have actually lost their entire Battle.net account because, pro tip for everybody out there in TV land, if you file a chargeback, if you file a dispute with your credit card company or your bank to a Battle.net account, Blizzard does not take kindly to this and will shut your shit down.
Oops. Maybe she looked into that.
This has been a known thing for a while. People that got pissed off about World of Warcraft bans or StarCraft bans, other shit. When they did this, they lost access to the entire account. It's happened many times in the past. When you are as big as Bungie Activision is, you do not give a shit about a handful of users. So, people continue to scream and yell, and Bungie, to their credit in a sense, actually does go back and start digging into things. And after multiple statements of our system is working, we did nothing wrong, these bans are legitimate. Yeah. Then they came back and were like, well, maybe. And then said they were looking into it further. But it turns out, and a lot of the complaints are that if you were using any type of overlay, that it caused the ban. Now here's the purported science behind it. I'm not saying it's right, I'm not saying it's wrong. Basically, the issue was people that were using overlays, be it Mumble or Shadowplay or Discord, whatever it was. If you were using an overlay, according to the sciencey people on the internet, most of those programs are using a DLL injector to cause the overlay to occur, which then flags in Bungie's cheat detection system and says, hey, somebody has modified a DLL that's interfacing with the game. And Bungie goes through and says, okay, well, the proof is in the code, so they're banned. Some of them were allowed back in, but the only clear evidence I've gotten is a BuzzClick article, or a clickbait article that said, Bungie bans 400 players due to overlays, unbans 4, which is abso-fucking-lutely clickbait. And if you see that article, go in and comment and tell them to get their journalism in check, or to pull their heads out of their asses. Because the article actually goes in to explain that 400 people were banned for whatever reason, whether some of them were legitimate or not. The 4 unbanned were people from the PC beta. This is not Bungie rectifying things. They didn't ban 400 people and then go back and say, well, only 4 of you weren't cheating. They're still investigating that side of it.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, the 4 from beta, that's like, all right, did you learn your lesson? Whatever.
And of course, the console players are piling on because there's a lot of frustrated, angry people that it's not Destiny 1 at year 3, it's Destiny 2 a month in, a month and a half in. No, I'm not forgiving them, but no, the live team just took over. Yes, there will be quality of life improvements. Motherfuckers, remember Forever 29? I didn't have a clan. I didn't have people to help me through the raid. I had to fucking pug that shit. I was lucky to be Forever 28. The shit was not some golden fucking Taken King paradise immediately when we played it the first time. There's a reason I haven't been playing. There's a reason I haven't bought a shit ton of silver. There's no need to. Fucking chill the fuck out.
Wait, let the content come and let it, grow into what it's going to be.
We'll see if it's terrible. If it is, then I'll give Destiny 3 a birth and wait until it's been out for a while. You learn your lesson. I love Destiny 1. I think I can come to love Destiny 2. There's just not enough there right now. But this shit, this fucking pitchforks in the field over some dumb shit, no. Give them time, let them address it. If you were banned, I'm sorry, it sucks. Yes, it was a bonehead move on Bungie's part. But understand, the team that is handling this PC launch is used to offloading all this shit to Sony and Microsoft. They're in new territory for them. I bet none of you motherfuckers were great at your job on day one. Give it some time. Don't be getting your pitchforks and trying to poke people in the ass with it.
Well, I'd say I'm giving them credit there because they're, they've come out and they said that they're looking into it further, that there might be something there that's off, and they're actually investigating it. Let's see what they come back with.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense though. I mean, if you're getting modified DLLs and that's not necessarily good. And some of the stuff it's got to go into for the overlay. Well, they might have more than just the visual side. For an overlay, it might be tracking other stuff, not DLL. So, I mean, that DLL is flagged. You got to give them a chance.
Trust me, and anybody out there that is terrified that they are losing out and there's no way they're ever going to be able to catch up, if you're banned for 2 weeks, that means you'll be caught up in 3 weeks.
Yeah, you're good. It won't take you long.
That's the news for this week. Oh my God. We got all the way through the news and we supported a company that's terrible and we bitched about a company that most people see as being good. It is Bizarro World. Which I haven't caught up on it, but let me drop a bit of comics in here for a minute, because anybody out there that is reading Red Hood and the Outlaws, just mute this for like 5 minutes. There's a series. Anybody not familiar with the DC universe? Back in the day, Jason Todd, one of the Robins, his fate was decided by the fans. Basically, DC put a phone number in and had a voting competition to see whether Jason Todd would live or die. They voted for him to die. So the Joker bludgeoned him to death with a crowbar.
Holy fuck.
Well, they go through all this, and then years later, they decide to bring the character back, but he shows back up in Gotham. This random villain shows up taking on the Joker's original persona, the Red Hood, and basically goes around and manages to destroy half of the criminal enterprise in Gotham single-handedly. Well, it turns out he's doing all of this because he thinks Batman is a bitch, doesn't go far enough, and he wants revenge. Like, most of his plot is setting up to kill Batman. Which all ends with the big reveal that the Red Hood is Jason Todd. And they've gone back and retconned the backstory that they find him, that Ra's al Ghul and Talia al Ghul find him. He crawls his way out of his grave, no memory, barely functional except on reflex. Ra's al Ghul eventually wants to kill him because he thinks he's not right. Too much brain damage had occurred. And Talia's like, no, because she loves Batman, puts him in the fucking Lazarus pit against Raz's wishes, and then she sets him free. And Raz is basically like, do you know what you've done? You know how insane and violent I get coming out of the pit. He isn't hardened at all. We don't know what the fuck he's going to do.
Especially with possible, minor brain damage.
And she's just like, whatever. I gave him money and the ability to get out of the country so he could get all the training he ever wanted. So he shows back up and is trying to set up Batman, and he's trying to set up the Joker, and he ends up kidnapping the Joker and is going to beat him to death with a crowbar for payback. And then he sets it up to where Batman has to choose between either killing him or the Joker. Because the one reason he has hatred for Batman is because he didn't kill the Joker after the Joker killed him. And that all works out, and he goes on and he becomes a villain and then an anti-hero. Well, then he ends up with his own team, which is changing characters over time. But right now, in the current run, it's Artemis, who is an Amazon, and another version of Bizarro Superman. Which I'll tell you, if you don't get into comics, but you want a both heartrending and heartwarming story, read it, because this version of Bizarro is such an innocent. Like, he just wants to do good. He wants to be a hero. He wants to help people. And of course, he's dumb as a fucking brick.
That happens on occasion.
But, like, that's it. Artemis and Jason are his family. And both Artemis and Jason are doing their best to look out for him and take care of him because he has a childlike mind. But that's the big deal through the whole thing, is them trying to take care of him. Well, he ends up with some type of, through a series of events, he ends up dying or nearly dying. And Solomon Grundy shows up and is just beating the pants off of Artemis and Jason, while Bizarro is hooked up to tubes and nearly dead. So he pulls the tubes out, puts on the suit, and he's like, no, my friends need me, and goes and punches down Solomon Grundy using the last of his strength, and he dies. And like, both Jason and Artemis are in tears. They're destroyed. And Lex Luthor shows up and he's like, I can fix this. There's like a 0.5% chance I can fix this, which is good odds for me. Don't worry about it. And he does. But when he corrects the issue, Bizarro comes back as a fucking genius.
Ooh.
Like, Lex comes out of the lab and he's like, okay, he's fine. You can come in and see him. And Jason and Artemis walk in and Jason's like, how you doing, buddy? And like, he gives him this very formal greeting. And he's like, oh, you're both shocked because of my ability to actually speak in a perceptible manner now, but it's okay because my intelligence has increased quite a great deal, but I'm not sure how long it'll last, so let's just enjoy these moments while they last.
He's looking on the bright side. Glass half full kind of guy.
But that whole fucking run so far, this latest rebirth version of the Outlaws, has been amazing.
It sounds like.
Hey, I'm not a huge DC fan, but man, I don't know what it is about Jason Todd that really just, I get the character and it's entertaining to read anything he crosses over in. And there's been a lot of cases where Dick and Jason and Tim Drake and Damian have interacted, and like, Damian hates all of them and thinks they're all worthless because none of them are true blood. And it's fucking hilarious just to see the reactions, because almost everybody looks at Jason like there is something wrong with him, and there is. But he has so much heart and is trying to do the right thing. It puts me in mind of Deadpool in a lot of ways, just without superpowers in any way, shape, or form. And like he is the whole group, the Outlaws have stood up to try and make things better, and watching the basically genesis of Bruce and Jason's relationship as they try and repair it. There's a hope in there despite all the darkness that surrounds the characters, the bad shit that happens. That's fucking amazing. I absolutely love that. And then you mix Bizarro into it, and that innocence it's just a weird mix, but it works so fucking well. So massive props to DC on that one.
That sounds like it. And let's see if I remember correctly. I think I've seen. It was the short film, whatever. I think it was on Netflix with. I think it was with Damien and the Red Hoods. Something like that. I think it was on Netflix. I seen that they had a little animated feature about that. It was pretty good too. I'd say if I see him and I haven't watched him, I typically go and check him out.
Yeah, that's one of the things everybody's waiting for with the DC movie verse, is to see if they decide to do a Red Hood version. Because right now it looks like the movie version that involves Ben Affleck as Batman, the Tim Drake Robin is the one that the Joker killed.
See, the one I think it was Deathlock is getting a movie coming up in the next couple of years. I believe I see.
Not Deathlock, Deathstroke.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, it's pretty much confirmed now.
I was looking the other day. I seen that, and say that could be interesting. See where they go with that.
Oh, definitely.
But yeah, that's our comic minute for the evening. Sorry, I've read up a bunch on it lately, and that last cliffhanger, because I don't like stuff like most of DC stuff I prefer to buy in trades, and I really ought to get to that point with Marvel, because this 30 seconds of story an episode is starting to fucking piss me off.
Yeah, that'll do it.
But anyways, on to the topic of the night. Classics. What defines a game, or what makes a game a classic?
You
Thoughts?
started off soon?
What was that, Black Sun?
I said, do you want to start it off?
Sure. I mean, I am sure each one of us is going to have a different viewpoint on this, because we're all three different people. And as much as we are alike, a lot of times in video games we have different opinions. And my personal opinion and my personal thoughts towards this are, it's a game that you wake up and you're like, I haven't played this game in 10 years, but I'm going to play it today. I did it the other week with Diablo 2. Like, I woke up and like that was the very first thing I thought. I was like, I want to play Diablo 2 today. I know probably 4 or 5 months back, I woke up one day and I was like, man, I want to play Final Fantasy VII. Like, to me, what makes a game a classic is that it's good enough to where you want to replay it years later. Like Mario, Super Mario World, Super Mario 3, they're fucking classics. Because even today, I can pick that shit up and still get tons of enjoyment out of it.
So, so is what you're saying, the thing that defines a classic is continued enjoyment even after its old hat?
For me, that for me, in my opinion, yes. Now I'm sure you two will have your own personal spins on it.
Motherfucker, this ain't Oprah. You ain't gotta be like, this is the kind of tree I am. I wouldn't ask you if I didn't want your opinion.
Well, years ago, like PlayStation used to release, their greatest hits. And there was some of those games where I was like, man, that game was fucking terrible. How was that a greatest hit? And as I got older, it kind of became clear to me. It's just, for me, a greatest hit, a classic, whatever you want to call it, is that game that even years after it's come out and you've played it 2 or 3 times, there's still times when you're just like, I want to play this.
Yes, I get some of them too, and that's part of it. It's it goes along that lines, and even a newer game that goes kind of does a throwback to one of those type of games that I've had a lot of enjoyment to. I mean, that's an instant classic, I guess, to me. Also, there's very few that can accomplish that or have ever done that for me. But every once in a while, you get the ones where there's new one. It's a new revision or it's a revamped of an old, in my opinion, classic, and they put a little spin on it, and it just it's instantly becomes a classic for me. It's a more it has to stand the test of time, or it goes and it does a throwback, I guess.
See, I don't know. It's we're covering such a wide range there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not it isn't even necessarily something that stands the test of time. Like Pac-Man is absolutely a fucking classic. There is no denying that. Asteroids, fucking Space Invaders, all of those games are classics. But I can't tell you the last time I've thought about going out and finding an Atari emulator to play any of those games. They don't exist in my modern mind as something I want to play. But they are still a classic. It's something everybody knows. I mean, it doesn't matter whether people were into gaming as a hobby or not, those are still games almost everybody in the world knows. And I think that's part of it is maybe if it gets ubiquitous enough that it does stand out no matter what. That makes part of it a classic. And yeah, continued enjoyment, no matter what generation of gaming we're in, will always be a part of it. Obviously, Blizzard makes their bottom line based on the idea that continuing to be relevant, even though you're outdated, makes you fucking money. So for me, it's kind of a combination. It's either something that was a part of culture or something that created a culture.
I can see that. I can agree with that.
Let's see, then you got Doom and all that falls. The original Doom would fall in that, especially on the PC side of things.
Oh yeah. Like there's times when I'll see like the original Doom and stuff on Steam sale, and I'm like, one of these days I'm gonna pick that shit up just because, so I so I can go back through and blow shit up with a fucking rocket launcher.
All right. Now we're going to have a bit of fact to go back to one of Zero's. The greatest hits label that made it through, in the US at least, PlayStation 1 through 3, was basically a market idea where games could sell at a lower price point. for the original, it began in 1997. It had to sell at least 150,000 copies, which I know everybody that looks at modern budgets and modern game sales was like, "Oh, that's ridiculous. That's nothing." Went from
Wasn't
100.
that back in?
Yeah, I had to go from 150,000 initially to eventually 250,000 and be on the market for at least a year. On the PS2, it was 400,000 copies and at least 9 months. So yeah, there was an idea that it had to be a popular game, but it typically was just a mildly popular game, and then it could sell for less as a new copy.
It's like they do with the game of the year editions currently with a lot of games, basically. Repackage it, put it. Let's say like currently they'll repackage it, squish all the DLC in there, and then someone that was on the fence about it before that never got it. Here's another chance with everything, and yeah, have some fun. We sold well. Here's another chance for the people that are on the fence to grab it, and we'll make a little bit more.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it makes perfect sense. And people that may not have ever got to try it and were, like I said, on the fence, it gives them the chance to possibly enjoy it.
I have bought quite a few of those Game of the Year editions. Like, I haven't picked it up originally, and then I go back through and, Steam sale. I'm like, oh, shit, Arkham Asylum Game of the Year's on there, or, Skyrim Game of the Year, whatever, I see it and I'm like, that's a real good bundle. I can definitely be down with that, So, like, I mean, that's good marketing.
Oh yeah, I mean it's beneficial for everybody. I mean the people, the players, they get a good deal, and say the publishers, they'll get another shot at a little bit too to help, say, on their budgets and whatnot. And development cycles are just they're like he was saying with the PS1 it had to be a year, then PS2 it went to 9 months, and the current ones I bet are 9 months or less. Maybe some of them might be getting close to 6 months. The development cycles are just getting so short and faster now. They run big groups, big teams of developers, and they're cranking stuff out quick. So you can see a game of the year after 6-7 months. You might see one pop up.
Yeah, and that's part of it. And obviously, everybody has that. PC games have always kind of followed or set a trend for that. But yeah, I still don't think, yes, a lot of those games are considered classics now, but we're also looking at all this shit through rose colored glasses. Think about a game you've played in recent history that you believe will become a classic.
Yeah, I'd say each of us, the classic is a little bit different because, well, I'd say Zero and myself, or say for sure. I mean, there's some games and some that just instantly, the way they are and the style, they become an instant classic to us. That's like, let's say, all the when they started bringing out all the Ninja Gaiden and whatnot. Those, yeah, those struck a chord from the original ones, and yeah, I was all over them.
Well, yeah, so was everybody else because it was ball crushingly hard. And we all say we want a nice, easy life, but we're truly forged in a crucible of trial and tribulation.
Yeah,
This is
that's
true.
true.
Some of us enjoy that soul crushing challenge a little more than others.
So yeah, I guess that tosses it back to the audience. The fuck do you guys think makes a classic? Is it existing in pop culture? Is it wanting to go back and play it again 10, 15 years later? Is it something completely different? We want to know. We want to know what the fuck you think. Anybody that comments Eraser himself will respond to you. Unless you're a spam bot, in which case, you can go get fucked. But
It'll
yeah,
be good,
that's
bad, or indifferent. One of them.
it depends on the day. Yeah. You guys got anything else on classics?
I think I'm pretty well good on the old classics.
I think I'm okay with this. Yeah.
He's okay
been
with this.
good discussion.
Like he suffered through it. Like this is good. Fucking, he's had his dessert mint and he's okay now.
No, I can't think of anything else I would want to add. Is that better?
He
Yeah, it's
wonders
better.
why we duct tape him to the chair when it comes to these nights and it's time.
That's all right. I'm working on the PID right now. The shocks will be coming.
Nice.
Oh shit.
So, yeah. Go ahead, Black Sun. I know you had something nasty to say.
I was just gonna say I know I'll be getting some enjoyment coming.
You're not supposed to strap it to your balls.
Thought that's what the instructions said.
That's right. We got some funny shit for After Dark tomorrow. Don't worry. I got some stories. But yeah, as always, we appreciate everybody that listens. And again, it is a transition. We've been dealing with this because of other stuff going on lately, but Gates will be missed. He was always a bright spot, and I hope to fill those shoes. But RDS continues to march on. Like I said, through adversity, we are forged. And we're rock hard, baby. So, on that note, Zero, you know what to do.
Shoot for the stars.
Now we know why Gates left.